Now, we were told by the Integrity Commission's recent report that the reason why they had delved into Andrew Holness's statutory declarations and investigated him was because he had an unexplained net worth increase of $1.9 million, $1,930,000. That was what we were told. But here is a curious thing. When we look at the Appendix 2, the summary of assets, liabilities, and income based on statutory declarations submitted by Andrew Holness for the years 2018 up to 2022, which is the entire time that the Integrity Commission, at least this particular Integrity Commission, has been in existence, we find, much to our shock, that in the year 2020, that's the second to last item and the middle item, you see that the net change for Andrew Holness was $5.7 million. That was an increase above the previous year. And yet, it raised no eyebrows. $5.7 million net growth for Andrew Holness over the previous year. And it raised no eyebrows. And they are coming to tell us and want us to believe that $1.9 million raised their eyebrow because it was generated by a company in which he is the sole owner. That's what they want us to believe? Or is it that that is what Mr. Kevon Stevenson will have us believe? Well, we will find out soon. But in the meantime, let me welcome you to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for stopping by, keeping me company as usual. If you're here for the first time, welcome. We are happy you're here. Please remember to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe, share as well. For my subscribers and my regular viewers, welcome back. You know that you're greatly appreciated. And you know what the time of day is, right? Yes, time to give the video a thumbs up because you know you're not going to have no time for none of that when we get into what we're getting into now. And I am telling you, I don't know if we have discovered something or not, but I'm going to throw it out there and you tell me in the comment section what you think about it. But also remember now to share the video, right? And bring in everybody that you know who wants to get some clarity about what the Integrity Commission report on Andrew Holness says and what it means. So please get this message out to them because I think we may have uncovered something. Not quite sure, but as I said, I'm going to put it to you and you tell me what you think. All right, so let's now get down to business. So in 2020, when they passed his declaration, that's the last one that they had passed, Andrew Holness was showing a net worth growth of $5.7 million. That did not create any alarm in their minds. None at all. The Director of Information and Complaints who examined his statutory declaration would have seen this massive increase in Andrew Holness's net worth. And he did not see any reason to write to the commissioners and ask them to refer the matter to the Director of Investigation for him to investigate. No, he never see anything wrong with it at that time. That was in 2020, and they had passed that one. Now, when you combine the years 2021 and 2022, in the same line, net change after conversion, second to last, you will see that Andrew Holness had personally, right, had made a loss in his net worth of $15 million. So for the 2 years, 2021, 2022, the ones that are under consideration now for being passed, and the only reason why they didn't pass the one for 2021 was because of the the accounts they found were left off. And based upon what I am reading, it would appear that it was Andrew Holness himself who had informed them that he had left it off. So Andrew Holness's net worth declined by $15 million. We now look at Appendix 3, which is the combined assets, liabilities, and income of Andrew Holness, ADMAT, and Imperium. Now remember, all his assets are held by these companies. He had closed ADMAT and opened Imperium, and he was transferring the assets from ADMAT over to Imperium. He completed the transfer, I do believe, it says either in 2021. ADMAT, you will remember, owned the house where he lives up in Beverly Hills, Shenstone. And for the transfer of the name on the title to Imperium, you know that not going to happen overnight, right? When it comes to the titles office. So it took a little while to get all of that done, and all was complete as far as I understand it in 2021. So let us now look at what they said. Here is the combine, when they combine all of them together, because all of them is really Andrew Holness, right? When they combine all of them together, let's see what they say now is the net worth. So the first column is the notes. The second one is the year 2020, the next 2021, and then 2022. So since Imperium came into existence in 2020, they have nothing to compare before because not all of the assets were transferred in that year. So they start their calculation for the net worth, whether there was an increase or a decrease in 2021. And when they look at the assets of the company combined with the assets that remained in Andrew Holness's name, and they combine that, and then they take out of all of that what is owed by both the company and Andrew Holness, what they got was a net loss in the worth. So the net worth was a reduction of 1.1 million. When they did the same the following year, they found that there was a net increase of 1.9 million. I want you to notice in the first column what it says. Difference between increase in assets and reported income or net worth to be accounted for. So what they're saying is they found that the thing never balanced out, right? There is an increase of 1.9 million. We don't know what that is for, so we need to go and check. That is what this is saying, and we are going to go now to what it is that Mr. Kevon Stevenson reported in the Integrity Commission's report that was tabled in Parliament that was referred to him. Let's go there now and let's see if we can make any sense of it. But before we move on to that, let me just do a quick definition for you of what net worth means. Net worth is the net value of the value of an individual's assets minus the value of the individual's liabilities. So your net worth is your assets, the money you have in the bank, anything at all that it can be sold, so that you own. So your bank account, your car, your house, assets you have like shares and bonds and all them sitting there. So that's your asset, right? And your liabilities is everything that you owe, and every obligation that you have is your liability. So when you take your assets, all that you have, and you minus your liabilities, all that you owe, that is what is your net worth. That is what nobody can come hold on upon. If they come hold on upon that, you call the police. Also, as part of your liabilities are any taxes that you may owe, right? Anything that is going to affect the value of your assets, reduce it, that is your liabilities. So your net worth is your assets minus everything that you owe to anybody at all, even flow, right? Great. Hey, you like the rhyme? Me not going too bad, not true. Remember to give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done so yet, please give it a thumbs up. All right, so now that is all the way, let's go now to what the Integrity Commission had referred to Mr. Stevenson for investigation. So on page 4 of the report, chapter 1, summary of investigation and findings. At 1.1, he began by saying this investigation report by the Director of Investigation of the Most Honorable Mr. Andrew Michael Holness, and now that hereinafter called Mr. Holness, into the 2021 Statutory Declaration is based on a referral by the Commissioners of the Integrity Commission pursuant to Section 14.5. So that was what the referral was about, right? From the Commissioners pursuant to Section 14.5, which has to do with the possibility of illicit enrichment of the Corruption Prevention Act and Section 43.2a of the Integrity Commission Act, and that has to do with making a false statement on his declaration. And we know that what they were alleging, or they were saying, that he left off 4 accounts, 3 from his parents and 1 from a constituent. Good. So you remember that. So he was being referred for 2 possible breaches of the Corruption Acts, the various ones, right? So it says now, more particularly, there were concerns that Mr. Holness owned assets disproportionate to his lawful earnings for the declaration period, and that he made false statements in his statutory declaration for the stated period. Okay. The referral, listen now, the referral from the commissioners inter alia indicates the following. He's quoting now from them. Let us hear now what it was that they referred to him to do and investigate. So here's what the commissioners said in their referral to the Director of Investigations. The declarant's net worth was calculated based on information that was included on statutory declaration for year ended 2021 and additional information provided by the declarant. So they are saying that this is based on this calculation that they did is based on what Andrew Holness put in his declaration and some information that they got from him, having asked him some question, to explain. They are saying that it says his net worth grew by 51 million over the 5-year period that ended December 31, 2021, right? That is an average of 10 million a year. That is what it grew by. They said now, this calculation includes the conversion of income and net worth from US dollars to Jamaican. So he has US dollars investments, Jamaican dollar investments. So they convert everything to Jamaican and compare. Then they said unexplained changes in net worth was calculated as 4.4 million net effect for the year ended December 31, 2021. Now listen to this. Although the declarant's net worth appeared to align with income for some years, the growth of the net assets of companies for which the declarants and close family members are majority shareholders and the actual contributions of the minority shareholders need to be further examined. This is what was sent to Mr. Kevon Stevenson to investigate. So you see for yourself what the commissioners referred to Mr. Stevenson for him to investigate. They said that, Andrew Holness' personal income, nothing wrong with that. It's in keeping with, what has been happening over the years. But what is a little curious to us is the increase in the net worth of the company. I remember the company is a new company, That is probably the reason why they wanted them to go and just check it out, right? The growth of the net assets of companies for which the declarants and close family members are majority shareholders. And you should now also find out what is the actual contribution of the minority shareholder. This is what needs to be examined. You hear what they tell him to go do. Go find out about this increase in the net assets. Find out how much contribution the minority shareholders are actually making. They did not tell Mr. Stevenson that he should go and do any investigation in where the money come from. There is no matter here that was referred to Mr. Stevenson for him to investigate the source of funding. It did not say that he should examine for source of funding. It did not say that. That is an entirely different thing, If they had suspected that the source of funding was something that needed to be looked into, they would have said, also investigate the source of the funding. That is not what they told him to do. They specifically told him to go and investigate the contributions of the minority shareholders compared to what the family is contributing, and go and look into this growth in the net assets of the companies. When you go and look into the growth of the net assets of the companies, and you see that some shares were transferred from Andrew Holness to the company, that is the explanation. So the question we need to ask ourselves now is this: does the law allow Mr. Stevenson, in the course of his investigations, he sees a line of inquiry that he needs to make? Does the law allow him to make those inquiries? Or does the law require that he should refer the matter to the Integrity Commission for their approval? And let me tell you why we need to check this out. Because it has cost implications for the Commission and for the government of Jamaica. And anything that is going to impose a cost on the government of Jamaica has to have prior approval. This is my understanding. But it could be that the law gives him the authority to pursue, once he gets a referral, to pursue the investigation in any which way he sees fit. Let me go and let us go and check what the law says. You agree? Yes, only reasonable and fair to Mr. Stevenson that we ventilate the facts such as they are. All right, great. I'm happy you agree with me. The Integrity Commission Act of 2017 is what created the position of Director of Investigation. And it states at 33(1) the functions of the Director of Investigation. It says at A, without prejudice to the provisions of any other enactment and subject to any general or specific direction of the Commission. Let me repeat that. And subject to any general or specific direction of the Commission. Investigate in the manner specified by or under this Act any allegation that involves or may involve an act of corruption or any allegation relating to non-compliance with the provisions of this Act on the basis of any complaint, information, or notification referred to him by the decision of the Commission or by the Director of Information and Complaints. So subsection A is suggesting that he needs specific referral from the commissioners or from the Director of Information and Complaints. The Director of Investigation shall, subject to the general direction of the Commission, investigate on his own initiative in the manner specified by or under this Act any matter that may involve an act of corruption or non-compliance with the provisions of this Act. So what exactly is this saying? Subject to the general direction of the Commission, investigate on his own initiative. Is that saying that he can investigate outside of what was referred to him? I don't think so. I think this means that however he investigates a matter, whatever technique he has for investigating a matter, that is what he should use. That is his own initiative. But whatever it is that he does, it must be within the ambit of the law. This is my understanding of it. If you understand something else, let me know, because if this is suggesting anything else, then it would contradict what is said in A, that he must act on referral. And if he is to act on referral, used this initiative and found that there are something else that he needs to investigate that does not form part of what was referred to him, to me, in my view, he will have to go back to them and ask and let them know what is happening and ask for permission and get that updated referral. I can't see how else it would be, because then it would be a free for all had it been otherwise. So therefore, when the commission said in its referral, although the declarant's net worth appeared to align with income for some years, so this is saying that where Andrew Holness's declarations are concerned, all is good, right? They line up. So may not line up, but they line up. It is the growth in the net assets of the companies, right, for which the declarant and close family members are shareholders. That is what we think needs to be looked into. That's what it says. In other words, when they look at the unexplained changes in the net worth, they realize that it is not on the Andrew Holness side, for those assets that he still has or have in his name, right? That is not where the problem is. They think that problem is with the companies. So go and look and tell us what is going on with the net assets. Why did it increase? And that is a simple matter of calling in Andrew Holness and saying to him, we noticed that there is a net increase in your, the assets of the company by such and such an amount. But look, we can't see what caused that. What is the explanation? I'm making along go do the homework and come back and tell you. Once him come back and tell you, say, this is it and this is that, and I took money from my account and I bought this share and it increased and blah blah. And once him explain that to you and it covers the 1.9 million, the investigation is over. No, there is no indication anywhere in this report that you had sought an explanation from the Prime Minister about this $1.9 million, which represents, by the way, when you look at the assets that they had before, the year before, the net assets, that this is 1%. 1% of the value of his total assets. This is what the 1.9 million represents. And you thought, Mr. Stevenson, that the commission meant that you should go dig up here and dig up there to find out what about this 1% increase in his net worth? But the commission could not have done that. We have people on who are commissioners who understand accounts. We have the Auditor General, and I'm sure they must have some kind of ratio between the increase of the net worth that would raise their alarm. Whether it's 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, they must have that threshold that they would say, okay, once the net worth increased to this amount, we may need to take a look closer if the declarant did not say what accounted for that increase, because he could have said so, evidently never said so, and that is why it is now known as unexplained growth in net worth. Now, this has very serious implications, because when he received this referral from the commissioners, Mr. Stevenson went off and in looking into these assets, saw where, he needs to dig further. And in the course of his investigation, he was asking about the source of income. Now remember, these declarations were passed already, by the commission, who would have examined and gotten all this information from the man from before. He's asking the questions again. That is why you see sometimes Holness keeps saying that, but we declared this before and we told you that before, and them kind of sitting there. But when they went to hire the international forensic accounting examiner and pay, I understand, something like 8 point something million Jamaican dollars to spend 6 months investigating and looking into the overall interconnectivity between Andrew and the companies, because it was too big for them. When they have the FID here, they could have referred it to, but it looked like they never remember them. Kevin Stevenson could not have done that on his own. He would have had to gone to the commissioners, explain to them what the issues were, what difficulties he was having in ascertaining this. It was beyond his capacity as an investigator, and it needed to be examined by a forensic expert. It was they who would have approved it. Did they know that he was going above and beyond what it was that they had referred to him? Did they know? Did they call him in to ask him for periodic update, or ask the executive director? I guess he's the one who is in charge of the day-to-day running. So did they call in Greg Christie and ask him what's going on with the investigation? And what did Greg Christie tell them? We're making progress. Was Greg Christie given regular updates on the progress of the investigations and details about what it is that Kevin Stevenson was investigating? And did he pass that information dutifully to the commissioners so that they would have known that he was delving into matters outside of what they asked him to delve into? Was that done? Because I do believe, that when this report finally got to them, or at least I am wondering or suspecting, when this report got to the commissioner's desk and they started to read through it, I wonder if they recognized that he had delved deeper than they had expected or anticipated. In other words, he was acting outside of what was referred to him. Did they realize that? I mean, what can they do at this late stage except to table the report and hope that nobody will notice? That's all they can do. Table the report and pray that nobody will notice that he had gone, at least appears to me, that he went above and beyond what was referred to him and gone into investigations of things that was already investigated by previous commissions. He had said that in ADMAT there had been no investigations done into ADMAT and the source of income previously. How do you know that? Remember, ADMAT was in existence from 2008. There was an integrity commission then, quiet, not as noisy as this one, and loud, but they would have gone through his and found that he had bought these government of Jamaica bonds for $100,000 and would have asked him about it then. Remember that at the time when Andrew Holness entered politics in 1997, there was a commission of an integrity commission then too. They too were very quiet. I didn't even know that they existed. Very quiet. Not noisy like this one. And they would have been seeing from day one what he was declaring and what he owned at that time. So it's not like this guy just came into politics and you're seeing these funny things going on. He has been there for he was there for 27 years, and they have been investigating his declarations for 27 years and found no reason to suspect, based on what he was declaring, that he was doing anything unlawful or corrupt, except for when Mr. Stevenson came into the picture. Now, a person's visible assets is one thing, but you do have invisible assets, but they are assets nonetheless. All the visible assets that Andrew Holness has can be confirmed to be the source of funding, at any rate, coming from the banks or from the selling of shares or stocks and bonds. That's what he ended up showing. His investigation turned up that all of these assets that we know that Andrew Holness has and those that we don't know but declared, he has proven by his actions that they came from legitimate sources, right? Out of the banks, out of his salaries, out of investments he made in the past. And the one thing you know about investments, they have a way of accumulating. So too bank balances. We all know that. And you guys listening, you know that too. You who are listening to me now, you know that you have assets that you've had for years, whether it's a car or certain lands. You have a house for years. You may have a bank book. You have money in there for years. And so what you're doing over time when you earn is adding to what it is that you have had and accumulated in the past. So you can't just look at a person's income and then look at a person's assets and come to the conclusion that, this is a $9 million a year. Then how you get the $1 million? Because the man has been doing investments over the years. Not running a business, doing investments in stocks and bonds. The man spent $100,000 in 2008 on a government of Jamaica bond that was paying 8% per annum. When he sold the bond, 12 years later, he made 43% return on that investment. That is $43,000. Shares are something that go up and come down. You have to know when to buy when it's low, and you have to know when to sell. And that is how you either make a killing or you make a loss. So you cannot just look at somebody's income now and say, but them have this 6-bedroom house. How they come by that? Many of you out there know, as I do, that you have people have 4-bedroom house, whatever bedroom house, 3-bedroom house that they build, housekeeper, gardener, for minimum wage. How they build them? They get a start with a land and then buy some blocks every time they get paid. Secretaries, all them people, every time they get paid, then put money one side and then buy some 100 block or 50 block. And then bill, and then take time bill. It take them all, some of them all 5, 10, 15 years to done build them house. When you look at the salary at the end of that period, when you see that splendid, nice house, well furnished, right? And then go in a government service, and then must now put in their integrity report, and then look and see them income is X, and see that house value about 100 million. It seems so them go ask them where they get the money from, I wonder if you understand what I'm saying. So you cannot just simply judge from a person's income. And since this person has been in the system for 27 years, you must now look at what is before you from 2018 when you came into existence. And you decide that you were going to dig into it to ask about the source of income. You had a preconceived notion in your mind that this was corruption. How you come by money was corrupt. That's why you did it. And having done so and spent $8 million of good money, gone search, you came up with the same thing that the previous commissions came up with. Right? All of these assets were being bought and can be, the source of it can be traced right back to his accounts. And when you look beyond those accounts, you see assets being bought and sold by Berita and by National Commercial Bank Capital Market. And when you ask beyond that, you see that the money that bought those stocks and bonds came out of the account. And when you ask beyond that, you see it coming from other assets and bonds that were sold. And then you couldn't go any further with the investigation. You end up with nothing. As for those invisible assets that people can own as well, yes, when you do something illegal, you may not want to pass it through the banking system, so you kind of have them one side. You searched far and wide with the company's office to see if he owns any other company, with the National Land Agency to see if he owns any real estate property. You wanted a title search. And you dig and search everywhere, even with the forensic expert from abroad. You went, of course, looking for any companies or anything like that he might own abroad. You're looking for the invisible assets and you couldn't find any. Couldn't find any at all. And what is more, the man don't even own a car. Right? When you search, you could not find that any of his near family relations, his wife or boys, they don't have no car. They're using the government of Jamaica vehicle, apparently. Right? And that should have been a sign for you to stop, but you wouldn't. When you're looking for invisible assets, you want to look to see if they own yachts. You want to see if they own private plane. These are the things, that people will do when they earn what they earn with the illegal money. They spend it on themselves. Yes, you wanted to know what his expenditures were, but that didn't stop you from finding out, right? You could do investigations of persons and you'd have found out and hear whether I make several trips here or there, or keep renting yachts, or I rent car, all sorts of things you could have done to find out. And you must have investigated. You found nothing. So all of this massive investigations and intrusion into somebody's personal affairs, right? Because you found $1.9 million, you say was unexplained, and you never call him in to ask him to explain it. If you say it's unexplained, why not call him and ask him to explain it? He probably had given you an explanation to your satisfaction. But if the explanation was not to your satisfaction, then you go and search. But what are you searching for? You need to find what it is that is causing the difference. When an auditor is doing an audit and they find something that is untoward, don't they write to the board or the managing director and point it out to them and let them go look for the information and satisfy the auditor? Auditor not find it, so them go look for it. But you chose instead to go into these elaborate investigations to account for $1.9 million, 1% of the assets that were declared. And you think that that is a reasonable spend of taxpayers' money. And if you were authorized by the commissioners, they need to come and explain why they believed that spending $8 million and more, not to mention the manpower that was utilized in this investigation, why do they believe that that expenditure to chase down $1.9 million, 1% of the total assets declared, why did they believe that that expenditure was in the public's interest? When just the year before or two, that same declarant had declared net worth increase of over 5.7 million and it did not raise any eyebrow. They need to come and explain that to us. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to subscribe, like the video, share, and leave your comments. Until next time, you take good care of yourselves and walk good.